Beautiful. All right, so today I'm going to be talking to you a lot about content marketing, and particularly I'm going to be talking to you about a storm that's going on right now that's shaking up the whole social space, right? So just dead quickly, I'll introduce myself. My name is Bishir Sulaiman. I'm the head of content at Real Buzz Media, which is an agency based in Liverpool. And I've put two other QR codes there for you. I love my QR codes. You've got one, that's my LinkedIn. That's so you can ask questions after this if you don't get a chance to ask today. And also it's to follow each other's journeys. Like, it'd be cool because I've heard like a lot of you have either started a business recently or about to start a business. So it'd be nice to see. In fact, the reason I'm here today is because Oliver reached out to me on LinkedIn. He remembered me from a few years ago when I was at a freshers fair promoting a student discount app. We had one conversation. I was talking to like thousands of students, and then he somehow remembered me and he messaged me and he's telling me about our conversation, what we had 3 years ago. So it must have stuck with him. But yeah, now we're following each other, so it'd be nice to follow everybody else's journeys as well. The other account there, I've not put it to just run up our followers a little bit. The reason why I've put my the TikTok account for the agency is because it's literally made for people like yourselves. So the whole content strategy focuses on making bite-sized videos of useful marketing tools that can help you make your life easier on a day-to-day, right? So they either give you new capabilities, make your tasks quicker or easier, right? And it's just bite-sized videos, usually no longer than like 20 seconds. And they might be useful for you in the future. So before I talk about the storm, for those that don't know how social media makes its money, right? They put out the platform, and to get everybody intrigued, what they do is they give out a load of free organic views, right? Because that makes people feel rewarded and that they're doing something good, they start getting invested in it, right? Once they've got enough people invested in it, then they start chopping down the organic views, okay? The reason why they do that is for two reasons. One reason is that it's going to help differentiate the good content from the great content, right? Because the great content will still achieve the views, but the good content might just dip a little bit, right? That's just the evolution of the platform. The second reason is so that they can monetize it, right? Because then the good content that wants great content level is going to have to pay for it to take that jump again, right? And so on and so forth. So we had a social media space, just before TikTok came around, where everyone was sat pretty comfortable, right? Everybody was making their money through their ads, right? Facebook was happy because it was giving nothing to anybody. You had Instagram, which was slowing down massively as well, so they were making a load of money as well. But then TikTok came in with this brand new shiny vertical form video platform, and it shook up the whole social space, right? The reason it shook it up is because all of them platforms there had a decision to make. Either they give away competitive advantage to TikTok, or they implement it in their own way on their platform. And because nobody's going to give away a competitive advantage like that, they've all started implementing it. So you've even got Pinterest there and Reddit who are starting to bring a version of TikTok onto their platform, right? So what we've got here is we've got the short form video being the absolute leader of social at the minute, right? And the beautiful thing about that is because TikTok's come in and made everybody adapt to it, you've got a dynamic now where one video can be posted on 6 platforms and all of them can grow from the same videos, right? You haven't got to go do a video on YouTube, then go take images on Instagram, then do stories on Snapchat, then put a few mood boards on Pinterest. No need to waste all your time. At the minute, everyone's pushing this. And as long as a platform is pushing something, they reward it organically, right? As long as you're pushing something, they want money for it, right? So at the minute, that's the perfect storm that we're facing now. Because I've heard a lot of you are either starting a business or are about to start a business or have had a business for a while, but maybe you've not touched social media yet. You've got a perfect opportunity now to walk in and grow your accounts at a very reasonable rate for free. Perfect for startups. if you take nothing else away from my talk, right, take this away, right? These next 2 slides is what you take away. The reason why I focused it on here is because this is not going to change in 10 years, it's not going to change in 100 years, and it's not going to change in 1,000 years, right? You've got 2 circles there. You've got your interests as one circle, and then mum's interests as another circle, right? Now, when you're talking to your mum, let's say your interests include football, boxing, and food. Yeah, you like that one? Yeah? And then your mum's interests include meditation, shopping, and food. If I go speaking to my mum about boxing and football, she's going to clock off after 3 words, right? Likewise, if my mum talks to me about shopping and meditation, I'm clocking off as well. But where we both have a common interest is food. So we can talk hours about what's going to come for tea, or maybe where we're going to go on the weekend, right? And the same human psychology applies in content, right? You've got your brand's interests, and then you've got your audience's interest. If I came here today just talking about Real Buzz Media and what we've done on a campaign and how much we've achieved and all that, none of you are going to be asked. Not one of you is going to be asked. But because I'm here talking to you about how to grow your social channels, because we're both into social, suddenly I've got everybody listening, right? And that's where the magic happens. It's the overlap that you need to find between your interests and, as in your brand's interest and the audience's interest. So a couple of examples of that being done through our own accounts is we've got 2 businesses within the company. We've got a marketing agency called Real Buzz Media, and we've got a student discount app called Stuni app. For the marketing agency, as I mentioned before, we're not talking about our achievements, we're not talking about us all the time. We'll weave it in where it's relevant, but we hardly ever talk about ourselves. What we do instead is we provide marketing tips so that all of you that follow it can actually benefit from it. And then you've got a reason to follow us. Likewise, when you look at Stuni app, instead of talking about all the deals that the businesses have given us, we do life hack videos with a student narrative. So a website that'll let you paraphrase, for example, or a website that'll let you automatically reference a list, for example. So when we're talking about the strategy, I've put there, we've decided not to gamble. The reason why I say that is because that strategy is not the only way to win. There's 3 ways you can add value to your content. One of them is you either inspire, educate, or entertain. Right? I'll repeat that because it's gone over a few people's heads there, hasn't it? Right, so you've got either you educate someone, as in you teach someone something, you inspire them, you make them want to go and do something, or you entertain them, so you make them laugh or something like that, right? The problem with entertainment and inspiring is you kind of need talent, right? I'm sure you lot have had it before, right? Someone sends you a meme, they've obviously found it funny enough to send, but it's not been that funny for you, so you've not gone and sent it further on, right? So that requires that you're gambling on perception with inspiration and with entertainment. With education, you're not. You're only dependent on your research, right? Any one of you has taught someone else something before, right? Facts. You must have taught somebody something else before, right? So that's why it applies to everyone. That's why I'm here talking about that strategy in particular and not the other 2, right? Because this one can apply to every one of you. The other 2 can't, right? And to break that down further, the process is really simple. It starts with research, then we start creating the content around the research, making sure it fits that platform, and then we publish it. Simple as that. So now that I've done that and talked about the strategy and talked to you about the opportunity that you've got in front of you, I'll tell you about a few quick wins you can get on it. All right, so first of all, it makes sense to start with the intros, right? The intro is probably the most important part of your video, right? Because if that first domino doesn't knock down, the rest will definitely not knock down, right? To provide a good intro, it takes mainly two variables. The first variable is mystery, and the second variable is value. So here's an example. Here's an iPhone trick I bet you didn't know. All the iPhone users are now paying attention. He just picked up his iPhone. And then you've got the mystery, right? So I've given you the value. Here's an iPhone trick I bet you didn't know. But I've not given it away, right? You've got the mystery. Oh, what is it then? So you carry on watching. So there's your intro. The second quick win is determined by pace, right? That comes down to another two variables. You've got word selection, i.e. what you choose to say, and then you've got the editing of the clips, which is all in-app, dead easy. Nothing, don't let your head go wild. It's just in-app, you've got a clip, you trim the end and the beginning, and there you go, that gap's gone, right? When I say word selection, I mean it's what you choose to say in the first place. That comes down to you lot, right? So, I'll give you two examples of a long intro and a short intro. Hey guys, today I'm going to be teaching you how to screenshot on Snapchat and get away with it. Instead, you could just go straight to the point, no messing about. Here's how to screenshot on Snapchat and get away with it. Bang, done, on to the next, right? That way, before they've even had chance to digest what you've just said, they're already on the next bit. They're playing catch up. As long as they're playing catch up, their brain activity is too busy for them to skip, as long as it had value in the intro, right? And the last one, oh, it's not the last one, it's the second to last one. Right, we've got recognition. Recognition is actually massively important because it's a massive determining factor between a view, a like, and a follow, right? If I've seen someone's good content, I might like it. If I see the same person's content next time but didn't know it was him, I might like it again. But if I knew it was him, and I knew I liked it last time, then I'm probably going to follow. To build recognition, it comes down to two variables again. I've narrowed it down to just two, so it's easy to remember, right? You've got branding, which is not just your fonts and your colours. It's how you speak, it's who's on the video, it's how you dress. You see David over there, he's branded himself pretty well, right? Memorable, you're welcome. He's got his shirt on, thank you, good man. So you've got yourself a good bit of branding. Branding can be loads of things. It can be your captions, it can be your fonts, right? It can be just the way you start a video. The time I started recognizing recognition was when I was scrolling through TikTok, and there was this American guy, right? He does he's like psychological tips, like facts. He'll give you facts about human psychology. And he started his videos in the exact same way. And they were like nobody was saying it the same way he does. So it literally was like, hey, do you know what's bizarre, right? And then he'll give you the fact, right? And you only need to hear that once, the way he said it, to recognize it again, right? So the question you've got to ask yourself when you're reviewing your own content is how many times does a non-follower have to come across your content to realize it's you, right? I'll say that again. How many times does a non-follower have to see your content to realize that it's yours, right? The smaller that number, the higher your recognition. The higher your recognition, the quicker you're going to get follows. And the last one is attention keeping, right? So we've discussed intros. That's about capturing attention. But it's a whole different ball game to then keep the attention for the remainder of the video. Because that's a much more complex thing and it runs on for longer, there's more moving parts to it, right? The first thing is changing frames, right? When I say changing frames, nice, another one, nice. Changing frames, when it comes to changing frames, what I mean by that is, let's say I'm recording a video of myself talking. The background, if it was always the same, it'd be very still. It'd be like me talking like this and not moving anything else around my face, and it'll just be boring. You'd be scrolling straight off it, right? What you want is you want short, concise and precise clips, and you want it changing. Give the brain something new to look at. Give them something else to interpret, right? Because as long as they're playing catch up, they're gonna watch your video, right? The second thing is movement. Right? Movement kind of goes within changing frames sometimes. But movement, what I mean by that is literally have things moving around the screen, whether it's annotations popping up, whether it's a GIF doing something on the intro, just something moving around, right? Having movement is good. It keeps the brain ticking. I seen a guy that literally does these technology tips, right? And as he's recording his screen, and he's talking for like a good 10 seconds. Now, if you think about a screen being recorded for 10 seconds while you're talking, it's a very good opportunity to scroll past and move on, right? But all he does to keep people's attention, and it genuinely works, is he taps the screen while he's talking, just like that, with his finger. Just taps the screen as he's demonstrating. And just that little movement of his finger just keeps them paying attention somehow, right? Human psychology, bring it into your content. The third one is transitions, right? They're just satisfying to watch, right? You do a transition, you pull it off well, they're like, oh, that was sick. Oh, they must be good. Oh, this must be a valuable piece of content. I actually had a girl that I manage. She did a video about how to put a plaster on your finger, right? The least valuable life hack I have ever come across, right? Terrible. Nobody's asked about it. Nobody, right? But because she put all these transitions in it and it was moving dead quick, it was like 60,000 views for this little plaster video, right? It goes to show I'll go back on this, but you don't really even need value sometimes, right? You just need it to keep moving. And then, like, that was probably more on the entertainment side than it was educational, right? And the final one is involving the viewer, right? When you're involving the viewer, you could use pronouns like you, your. Here's how you can do this. This is how it'll affect your business, right? You can also do it by subtly, indirectly pointing at the screen, because the person on the other side of the screen is going to feel involved subconsciously, right? And that's how you can keep attention in 4 main ways that we use to keep attention. There's a million other ways, obviously, but the main ones that'll give you a good solid foot onto how you're starting your content will be them 4. Without further ado, thank you for your time and thank you for listening. And don't hesitate to ask any questions. Cheers.
How important do you think it is to have like a personality behind it? Can you justify maybe having a more abstract if it's educational, or if you have still a brand behind it but you're not showing your face? How does that work?
I think having a face and having a person, right? When we're speaking about recognition, part of it was branding. A part of branding is the person, right? So if you've got a good personality on there, great. But it doesn't mean you can't win without one, right? There's millions of ways of branding, like I mentioned before. That's just one of them. It's just adding an extra. It's not the be all and end all by any means. There's tons of accounts. If you're scrolling through TikTok, there's tons of accounts, no face shown, some of them not even voice. right? No face, no voice at all, right? It's not the be all and end all. But if I was to advise something, I would say, if you can put yourself in front of it, or get someone in your team to, right? The biggest asset of that is, if they become a fan of the person, that's a unique competitive advantage nobody is ever going to be able to mimic, right? You can have the same life hack go up, but if they like me and how I do my videos and how I speak and my personality when I've been on live or whatever, it doesn't matter if theirs has got better transition, it doesn't matter anything. I've got the people on my side then. So if you can get a person in front of it, I would say get the person in front of it.
Everyone's still waiting for the
Everyone's speechless. Say again.
Everyone's still waiting for the iPhone to.
I wanted to ask, like, when you're like speaking to your clients and you're trying to think, they already have the content, but you're trying to think about what you said, the movement, the actions. How do you brainstorm that? Is it just like intuitive, or is it kind of an iterative approach?
We usually, the people that come to us, to be honest with you, aren't usually. So we've got two sides to the business, right? We've got the channel management side, right, where we would take over the account and run it ourselves. Or we've got the campaign side, where we make a massive sparking buzz about that brand, right? When it comes to channel management, we get to run it, and we're all comfortable in front of a camera, right? We're all happy to do it. When it's a campaign, it's using creators. So we've never actually needed to step outside of putting ourselves in front of it, if that makes sense. Because it's always, when they've come to us for help because maybe they can't. So when we take that over, we'll just take it over and we'll do it for them, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I just thought of something, because you said obviously now you can just use one video on all platforms. Do platforms mind if you like make it on TikTok and then post it straight to Instagram?
Good question. Good question. Usually, the trend it follows is the older the platform gets. Let's say Instagram Reels, right? It was probably the second one on there, right? After TikTok, it was the first one to mimic, right? As it goes on and it starts getting populated, it will start to prefer using in-app features, right? Because it's just natural. You know, they've worked hard to make their own features. They don't want the other people's features. But if you download a TikTok video, you'll notice the watermark that stays on it, right? That's their bit of branding. That's wanting to stop that being spread across all the others, right? There's a way around that, and it's actually on one of our TikTok videos. So there's a website called snaptik.app. Copy the URL from a TikTok video, you whack it in there, magically it removes that watermark. Yeah.
So like the past 3 months worth of content, it looks like on the student app account, all of the videos that have gone viral have been you and not the girls. So what are you doing differently for them?
Good question. So there's two sides to that coin, right? I'll give you the story for it. So essentially, what's happened is when we first grew that account, it was me growing it, right? And when I was growing it, this was like 3 years ago when you probably seen me, right? When I was growing it then, we would post a video and there'd be people fighting just to get the first comment. They were like but there would be like 6 of them, right? And it had such a cult following that there was people constantly asking for videos, you know, messaging, wanting to jump. But then, that was me on my placement year at uni, right, 3 years ago. Once I finished my placement year, I had to go and finish uni. Because of that, I had to come off the platform, right? So when we was talking about branding before, they had a good year or two without me on it. So a lot of people will have got used to, oh, he's gone. So then the engagement started to dip. I then had to go back and train the new girls, which are not the ones you see there, had to train the new girls, and they carried on growing it from that training. But when these girls had to go and train the others, the ones you see now, that's where it fell short. And because it fell short there, we're still in the process of bringing them back up to it. And the account has also dipped because I've not been there for a few years, and the handover wasn't done the same way when I did it to the girls. And so because of that, their videos have dropped a little bit compared to mine. However, that's partly not because of them, partly it's because of the account suffering from lower views for a while, so it's been muted a lot more over time. But if you go onto the Real Buzz channel, for example, you'll see mainly two faces, myself and a girl called Jess. If you look at her videos, some of hers have reached just as much as some of mine, right? Fresh channel, no impression, not enough data to mute us down, so it was on the incline, right? So the content from the girls is good, but the problem is that the platform has learned that it had dips, and because of that, it mutes you further down. So once you get momentum, it's broke the momentum, and now we're trying to build it back up, if that makes sense to you. That was a long one, mate. Yeah.
What is your view on using the in-app camera in contrast to using your own camera in regard to how the algorithm sees?
On TikTok?
In TikTok, on Instagram, anyway.
Like I said before, using in-app features is always, anything in-app will always be favored over external. But loads of creators have won massive from not doing that, right? So it's not the be all and end all, it's just slightly favored, right? The good thing about recording on TikTok, particularly TikTok, is it lets you use the in-app features quite easily. You get to trim the clips, you get to durations and stuff. If you upload on TikTok, most of the time it wants you to upload the whole video. The good thing about Reels is you can actually have a combination of the two. You can record some of it, then upload something you can't record, then you record some more, and you can freestyle it the way you want. On TikTok, it's a little bit more, right, you're going that way or that way. So that hopefully that helps you. But in-app is usually favored, yeah.
Of the number of accounts that you've got, how many of them are actually selling actual product on TikTok? And
We're
how just using it for communication?
Yeah, so for our clients, a lot of the campaigns we do have actually managed to convert to these things. So for example, I was just telling Oliver before, and Nico, I was just telling them before, we actually managed to do a campaign and get an app that solves maths equations through scanning, right? You scan your equation, it solves it for you, right? There's plenty of them about, it's not the only one. But we managed to get that through a campaign, we managed to get that to rank above TikTok on the App Store through TikTok. So, yeah, I know, a bit mad, isn't it? But yeah, so it does convert. It does convert. When you talk about actual products, they've just introduced live shopping has become a much bigger thing now. So we're actually in the process of adding that to our arsenal. And we've just hired somebody to help us do that. And just before I finished work today, they were just on the live on the Stuni app account, and they're running it up quite nicely. They had, I think, like 30,000 likes. It wasn't a shopping live, they're building the live up to get regulars, and then that's when you slap the products in front of it. Having looked at other creators that have done it, they've done it really good. It's seamless. You literally upload the products onto the TikTok shopping channel, and it literally shows up at the bottom, and they just have fun with it. The ones that have fun with it and make it a little bit light-hearted, they're the ones that seem to get it, from my analysis anyway.
Right.
Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask a question about the niche that you bring to your account. So like, let's say you have more than one interest, like, I don't know, self-improvement, technology, or entrepreneurship. So like, do you suggest like stick to just one, or can you actually find a way to bring them all in, like?
Yeah, you can do what you want, mate.
Because like, I don't know, I feel like people say that it's better to like stick to one.
Yeah, they'll
I don't know, it's just
yeah. Look, they'll say a lot. They'll say a lot of things. A lot of people say a lot of things. At the end of the day, mate, as long as the video's good and they're high value and they're consistent, it doesn't matter what you put into the channel. However, if you did have 3 topics that aren't interlinked, that's a messy channel, right? It's like, you know, putting on CBeebies and then seeing Shameless on there. You know, it's not going to work, is it? So ideally, they actually have some sort of link between them. But another factor you need to take into account is if you've got the infrastructure to get 3 accounts going, right? Yeah, it's like real estate. You've got 3 places now instead of the one. You've got 3 houses. So definitely, like, the more the merrier if you can. If you can and they're interlinked, put them together.
One quick question. On Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, you can like advertise stuff in normal posts, but you can't sell alcohol on the product shops. Can you sell alcohol on TikTok?
Good question. I don't know. Can't lie to you, mate. I'm not going to pretend like I know that one. Never tried to.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. Look at all you got.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so if you've got 2 people on your account and you've not started getting any recognition or creating any content yet, is there anything you can do to sort of bring that like recognition with 2 different faces uploading content at the same time, like branding the account?
So are you asking if 2 people can build recognition together?
Yeah.
Absolutely, mate.
What tricks would there be to sort of say somebody's watched it for the first time, and then the next time somebody watched it but it's a different face?
Yeah. So what you're going to do there is potentially you're going to have, it's an opportunity or a cost, right? It depends who's doing what, how well, right? If you've got 2 people building their own audience under one roof, perfect. Great. That one brings this audience. They love their content. Both content's there, and that one brings this one. All under the same roof, right? They'll have their own recognition points. They'll have their own likability factors, and then so will they. So there's no problem. We've had the Stuniac channel at one point had about seven creators at the same time. And people liked some people's content, and others liked other people's content, and it, if anything, it probably grew it faster.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome, mate.
You got any tips for doing lives?
Doing lives.
I don't watch them, so I don't know what people are.
Yeah, you've got to, lives need a bit of investment in time, right? It takes a bit of building. It also takes a bit of creative thinking, like David was saying before. You need to think of something a bit, not like just your Q&A. Like, don't get me wrong, a Q&A every now and then sound. It's all you're doing, then it's not, you've got to rip through a little bit. We had the girls today doing a live that I was mentioning before, and it was a say it or shot it, right? So you've got one asking the other, and they've got to either answer it or take a shot of hot sauce, right, in the office, right? Brilliant. So it's just things like that. You know, do a bit of bizarreness. Give them something to remember. You know, give them something to enjoy. That one again, it's a little bit of entertainment. That one, more entertainment you can bring to the table, the better. You're welcome. You're welcome, mate. No problem.
Really good.